Right then people, we have got this Ford Kuga 2 litre TDCi in this morning. Engine management light on the dash. So set it up, let's go have a look. Oh, right, so let's have a look to see what is going on here. Okay, so engine light is off at this point in time. Was she saying the engine light comes on when? It came in with the engine management light.
It did. It drove in with engine light.
Right. Well, the engine management light has extinguished itself. So let's see what we have got behind the scenes. Now what we'll do, we'll quickly do a diagnostic scan. Sorry about the bleeping, guys.
Fixed it.
He's fixed it. Good man, Dan. Right, so we have got DPF soot accumulation and we have got pressure sensor. Okay. Battery voltage. Right, so we have got the usual U1900 CAN communication error. This is, which we see on loads of the Ford stuff, these clocks, guys, the dry solder joints. So we will have those out and then we will concentrate on this situation with the DPF and see what we've got. U1900, we do loads and loads on the Fords, and it is, you know, the problem with the CAN network is it all goes through the instrument cluster. So what happens is the dry solder joints, you'll get anything from power steering lights coming on to eventually, once it really gives up the ghost, it just won't start. You know, we went out to a non-start the other day. As soon as I saw it was a U1900, we whipped the clocks out, dry solder joints done, and it started instantly. So what we'll do first, I think what we'll do first, before I take the clocks out, let's deal with this differential pressure reading, DPF, soot content. She has been told by another garage it needs a new DPF. I'm not so sure myself, guys. Let's have a quick look. Right, what we're going to do quickly, guys, just to check what the differential pressure readings are doing on the DPF, we'll have a quick look in the live data. So let's have a quick look in the live data and see what we've got going on. Okay, so we want, if I can spell this morning. Okay, so we have got, as you can see here, guys, the differential pressure reading is on 0. Dan's just revving it up. Can you see? It's not making any difference to the vehicle. One more, Dan. It's not making any difference whatsoever. So normally when we have a situation where we're not getting any pressure readings, 9 times out of 10, it's normally a split pipe somewhere, something as easy as a rubber hose. So we'll get under there now quickly and check the rubber hoses. The other option is potentially we've got a differential pressure sensor on the fault. So what we'll quickly do now is we'll dive under and have a quick look at the hoses to and from the DPF. And then what we'll do in the next process will be we'll MIT-evac the differential pressure sensor to make sure it's reading the same on the computer as it is on the MIT-evac, and then we know that everything is working as it should do. Let's get to it. So what we're doing now, I'm just going to quickly remove the pipes off the differential pressure sensor, and then we're going to use a MIT-evac to see what the computer reads from that sensor versus what the MIT-evac is telling us.
So the big one is the before DPF pressure sight.
Yes, that's right, yeah, because that's normally the one that the fluid gets injected down,
yeah.
The bigger of the two. Right, Dan, so if you can, we'll take it up to, I don't know, 10 kPa, and I'll see what the computer's telling us. I have to do this inside, guys, because you can't see the screen at all.
Well, that's at 10.
Right, so Dan is shouting to me that this is at 10 kPa, and you can see we're not getting any reading whatsoever at 10 kPa.
What about if we bring it round to quite high and have a look to see what the readings are?
Well, take it up a little bit higher then, and we'll see if that makes any difference whatsoever.
It'll be really rough, that's 50.
You're going to go to how much?
50.
Right, so you've gone to 50.
50 kPa.
Okay, so the sensor itself is only reading 20. When it's showing, hold that there. And we're at 50, so there's no question that is 40. So let's get a new sensor on it. We'll do the same test again and we'll see what we got. Right, let's get this new sensor fitted, guys. Nice and easy on these. They just sit on the side of the battery box. So what they'll do is, I think there's an 8mm bolt there, which is that. So 8mm bolt and a plug, 2 pipes. Can't really get the pipes around the wrong way. Well, you can if you're, but you can see the difference in the thickness. Look, you've got one that's a lot bigger than the other, so you shouldn't get that the wrong way round. Right. There we go.
Big one on first.
It really is as simple as that, guys. And for the test, all we're going to do is just place it in the pipes. We're not going to put the clips on until that's all buttoned up. And then what we'll do, we'll get to see what it's actually reading. Right, so for the interests of this part, all we're going to do is we've just stuck the sensor in the electric plug. We're going to put the MITIVAC back on the thicker side, which is the before, and then we will see what the computer's telling us versus what the MITIVAC was. Bearing in mind, Dan had to take it up to
50 kPa.
50 kPa to read 20 kPa on the diagnostic machine. So Dan, just take that up to 20 for us on the MITIVAC, and then I'll run inside and see what we have got on the diagnostic machine.
It should be. Oh,
let's see how good it is. All right, let's do this. So we're at 12, Dan, on here. 15. 17. 18, 20. So we've got 20 on the diagnostic machine, guys. And if you look on there, they're increments of 10. So that makes absolute sense that we are on there or thereabouts 20. So at this point in time, bearing in mind, this lady was told it needed a new DPF. So let's get this button back up and see what the readings are. And then the good thing is we can have a quick look at the soot content, because what you'll find, guys, if it doesn't see a pressure reading in the DPF, you'll probably find it hasn't done a regen. So it might just be a case of we can get this buttoned up, we can get the regen done, and then we'll get away with just a differential pressure sensor, which, to be honest, is a much cheaper fix than having a DPF done. Right, so that is the sensor fitted, nice and easy, just a little 8mm bolt there. Make sure the plug is on and the clips are on. As you can see, the clips are on. Don't take too much reference to that, because someone in the video will go, oh, you haven't put the clips on. Yeah, the clips are on. Right, let's get round to the car. We are still going to have potentially the fault codes. Oh, there we go. So it does say engine malfunction. Okay, let's have a quick look on the live data now that sensor's fitted. So what have we got? Let's see what that is doing now when we give it a rev. Okay, cool. So we have got, obviously the reading is in kilopascals, which translate roughly 10. So 1 kilopascal is 10 millibars. I would expect to see a good DPF up to about 10 millibars, which is up to 1 kilopascal. So that's why that's reading 0. If I give it a slight rev, it should just pick it up to about 10. There you go. So we know that DPF is definitely not blocked. This car does not need a DPF, which is what she had been quoted. So Dan the man has fitted the differential pressure sensor, which was clearly out of kilter with what the car was actually reading. So that one there, guys, look at that. That's 30 millibar, 40 millibar, 50 millibar, nearly 3,000 RPM. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that DPF. So then, Dan the man, we will pull the clocks out and let's deal with that U1900 fault code. And yeah, no DPF, dry solder joints done, another one done, guys. It is all in the live data. Fault codes, anyone can read a fault code, but it's understanding where to look in the live data to get what you need. Well, join us on the next video where, well, what could we be up to next, guys? Let's see. And just one quick thing before we go. If you haven't liked and subscribed our YouTube channel, please head over on the link in the description and give us a like, guys, because, you know, we could be doing anything from racing a shed round the track to fixing other people's issues, which is majority of what we do here every day. And yeah, who knows what we're next, but appreciate all the comments, guys, all the love, and we appreciate every single one of you. So we'll see you on the next one.